The first thing you usually want when you're looking to buy a home is not like a really detailed explanation of the importance of a certain thing. You just want some general tips. So today I'm going to give you my top 7 tips that I've essentially given any home buyer. Like, it doesn't matter where I am on the spot. Someone says, hey, what's your top tips? These are the 7 I always give. And if you follow these 7 tips, you probably are going to be a pretty good buyer. Pretty good. So the first tip I have for you is do not call a realtor or lender to get advice right away. You know, a lot of people get the idea that they want to buy a home and they're like, let me call my cousin Edgar to see if they, how the market is. Or, hey, I'm going to call my cousin Edgar to see how it works to buy a home. What happens is people usually misinterpret real estate agents and lenders to be advisors, fiduciaries. I don't know, that's not how you say it. But there's a reason why financial advisors, it takes so long to get to that point, and they have to really do a lot of tests and a lot of they have to jump a lot of hoops to get there. Agents maybe have to get 90 hours of education, they pass a test, and they never use that information again. So agents are not financial advisors. Do not have your first step always just say, hey, let me call my buddy and let's see what they say. They are real estate salespeople. Their job is to sell you a house. Yes, there are exceptions out there of realtors that are just, looking to help you and talk to you, etc. But most of them are going to be trying to sell you. And even if they are being nice, it's just a farce so they can sell you. Not saying they're bad people, but it's just what they do. You don't get mad for a shark for eating meat. You don't get mad for a llama to spit on you. I just watched The Emperor's New Groove with my kid. That's why I'm thinking about llamas. But either way, do not have that be the first step unless it's like super like someone you love, like someone really rare, like a friend that you really trust or something. So number 2 is figure out your pre-approval number versus figure out your affordability number. What does this mean? Well, a lot of people just want to know what they qualify for. They want hey, just tell me what I qualify for so I can start looking and getting an idea of what I like. That's not the approach you should take. You're going to become house poor, and your realtor and your lender are going to make their money, but you're going to be left with a payment you cannot afford. My personal idea is your monthly payment should be at least a third of your net income. That's just my personal budget bias. Feel free to take that or leave that, but this is how we're going to find the pre-qualification affordability number. First, you got to find your gross monthly income. Now, you feel free to go get a paper and pen if you want to follow this along with me. Maybe you can pause this, do this later. Zeke will be putting some examples up on the screen. So thank you, Zeke, our new editor. Everyone give him some love. Give us a quick bio, like within 1 second now. Okay, cool. There you go. This is how you would figure out your pre-qualification affordability numbers. Let's say your gross monthly income is $6,000. Now, keep in mind your gross is before taxes, not the actual number you take home. Why do they use this number to qualify you? I have no idea. So to find out your actual full pre-qualification number, so step 1 is you want to multiply by 0.50 or essentially divide your gross monthly income in half. Okay, that gives you approximately 50% debt to income around there. Now from here, you want to subtract your monthly minimum payments on your debts. So let's say you have 5 credit cards. You pay each one, $300 a month. Well, no, you're not going to pay $300 a month. You're going to be adding up all of your minimum payments. The payment that pops up on the statement that's like super low, $20 or $25 that they want you to pay so you keep paying interest. You add up those up. You also add up your car payments, your student loan payments. If you don't know what your student loan payment is yet, use 1% of your total loan balance. And really, that's it. Most credit situations like childcare, rear situations like child support for you, all those daddies and mommies out there. But you don't use your utilities, you don't use your rent. You're just looking at your minimum monthly payments for any debt obligations you have, loans, etc. Once again, you get 50% of your gross monthly income, and you subtract all the minimum payments, and this is the total number that you would qualify for. Now, odds are is if you have almost no debt obligations or very few credit card debt, congratulations. But you're going to notice something. If you write down your net income next to that payment that you qualify for, you're like over 50 or 60%, and that's insane. So to find out your affordability number, right? We know what we qualify for, and the lender will tell you qualify for that, and they're not going to say, hey, you can't afford it. They're just going to say, this is the number you should go buy with. To find out what you can afford, there's a lot of trains of thoughts, and I have a full video on this if you want to watch it. Links there. The best one I like to use is 28% gross monthly income. This is just a safe one. It usually ends up being about 35% net most of the time, 35% of your net income. So that's like a general good number. So I'm using gross because you probably have your gross income now, but if you want to be a real champ and you want to what your net income essentially is what you actually take home in a month, my goal is always to be about third of it. I want my third of my income to essentially be my mortgage mortgage payment. And essentially, I want at least with one check for me to be able to pay the mortgage if I get paid bi-weekly and still have some money left over. So that's just my goal. You feel free to use that. But for now, we're going to use 28% gross, which is about 35% net. So what you do is you get that same gross monthly income and you multiply by 0.28. You multiply it by 0.28. And that'll give you exactly where you need to be in a comfortable budget. It's essentially, if you pass that number, you're considered quote unquote house poor. Extra points, if you can be under 30% of your net, that's even a more desirable goal. So you're probably going to notice there's a huge difference between what you can afford and what you can qualify for. Crazy, I know. But you want to make sure to try to fight your urge to buy and just go get whatever you qualify for. And make sure you can afford the house you live in. Win the house you can afford. Shout out to you, Kyle. So just be careful. Do things very carefully, okay? So let's do a quick example. So let's say your gross monthly income was $6,000. Well, to find out what you qualify for, it's to be half, so $3,000. We'll subtract, let's say the person has 3 credit card payments, minimum payments like $25 each. So that's $75. And let's say they have a car payment of $250. So they totally pre-qualify up to $2,675, okay? Now, if we figure out what they can afford, we start off with that same gross monthly income. So we're going to go $6,000, multiply that by 0.28. They can only afford $16. It's early. I decided to wake up early to do these videos. So, just be okay with my mistakes. Accept me for who I am. 1,680 is going to be what they can afford. Huge difference, right? So if they decide to just use their top pre-qualification number and they'd say they net about $4,800 a month, which is about 20% tax rate. You are paying over 55% of your monthly income towards your mortgage. It's scary. No one does this work prior. Be better. Tip number 3, figure out your timeline. Okay. How do you do this? Well, I'm going to give you guys access to this Google Sheets calculator that I made that essentially, well, with the help of Kyle, thank you, Kyle. Essentially, if you put in what month you're looking to, well, I'll show you. Let me stop talking. I need to just shut up and just show you. So essentially, you always want to start off with your timeline. If you want to use this alongside, you can download it's going to be down in the description, so feel free to check it out. Or you can just use a paper and pen. You don't have to use it. So if you want, you always want to start off with what is your first payment? What month do you want your first payment to be in? So let's say you want to be closing and you want to be in a house by April 2022. Okay. If you want to be in a first, remember, not be in a house by when you want your first payment to be, that's where we start off with. If you want to start in your first payment in June, then everything changes. So let's just say for this example, to make it easy, you want your first payment to be June 2022. Okay. Then you want to kind of find out, are you going to be a picky queen and king, or are you going to be, hey, I'm going to be pretty efficient with my time. If you're going to be pretty efficient, let's just move forward with that. So you start off with your first payment. That's going to be on the month of June or whatever month you picked. You want to work 2 months back. So July, then August, June, no. Sorry, I did that wrong. June. So May and then April, right? So whatever the second month is, that is the month that you have to close by. So in other words, here, I have it here, April. That is the month you have to close by. Why is that? Well, because regardless if you close on April 1st or April 31st, hopefully there's 31 days in April. I seem really dumb right now. You're going to have your first payment be in June 1st because it always falls on the second month after the month you close. So if you close beginning of the month, you might feel like you got an extra payment because you have those extra days. Now, keep in mind, they will charge you that in interest. So you're paying that in the closing cost. So it's not like you're saving the money, but there you go. So your first payment will always fall 2 months after that. Now you want to be strategic here. If your lease ends in April, then, the close of escrow is when you get possession. So if your lease ends in, let's say, April and you're closing in April, it's going to be very tight. This is better suited for someone whose lease maybe ends in May, right? So they close in April, they get possession of their house. They have, up to May to move out. And then once they're fully moved in, then their first payment's June. Perfectly lands. So in the perfect world, your lease ends in the month between close of escrow and first payment. From the close of escrow month, whatever you have, you work a month backward, and that's your under contract date. That's the month that you have to be under contract by. Odds are your escrow period takes about 30 days, unless it's like a weird situation. So if you want to be closing the escrow by April, then you need to be under contract by March. Pretty simply understood. Now, before here, this is where I have why I asked you if you're picky or not. If you're pretty efficient and you're going to find something quickly, you want to be starting beginning your search the same month in March. Now, obviously, this is different if you're starting to look in the end of March. Then maybe don't put March here because you're only going to have like a few days to look for a house. So if you're looking in the beginning of the month, you want to if you want to make it a goal to be under contract by the end of the month and start looking around the beginning of the month. That way it gives you about 20 to 30 days to look for a house. And if you're under contract at the end of the month, you're probably going to close at the end of the following month, so it'll just work out a little better. So if you're going to be a little pickier, then I would say give yourself an extra month here and start your search in February in this case, or a month prior. Now, be careful here, because if you start looking in February, you cannot go under contract in February or else everything gets moved back. So if you're under contract in February, now you're going to be first payment be due in May, which if you can afford that, then that's fine. You might have a double payment, but if you are going to look for 2 months, you have to be looking in that month of whatever extra month you're looking for, with the idea that you're not going to make any offers. Okay. So then after that, you can get an idea of when you need to get pre-approved by. I always like to get pre-approved the month of or month before that, the month you start looking. So in this case, it would be January. And of course, you want to start beginning researching your team even a month before that, right? Who you're going to hire as a realtor and lender. So once again, working our way back, first payment, work your way 2 months back, close of escrow, 1 month back under contract date. If you're going to be efficient, start looking that same month you want to be under contract. If you're going to take a little longer, take an extra month, so 1 month back, and then be approved at least a month back and start researching your team a month back. So this will give you a better idea, and this will be available in the description for you to download if you want to check it out. Tip number 4 and tip number 5 are both about getting pre-approved, but let's just do tip number 4. Shop around for the right things when you're shopping around for a lender. A lot of people have this idea that they're going to shop around for interest rates when they're looking to get qualified. Now, let me show you how much this doesn't make sense. The interest rate is changing on a daily, hourly thing. It's like always a living, breathing thing, okay? So the rate you see today might not be the same rate you see tomorrow, let alone a week from now, let alone a month from now. So you're shopping around lenders for a rate that's going to be variable. Now, yes, you might want to say, well, I want to see who has the cheapest rate now, because odds are they'll have the cheapest rate, 2 weeks from now. Sure, that's definitely something to consider, but that shouldn't be the main focus. That'd be something you notice, but not the main focus. Your main priority when researching a lender is, do I like the person and are they available? That's really it. You want to shop around for costs that the lender is charging, because they're going to give you a long closing cost sheet of estimate, right? And it's going to have a lot of estimate things that they don't know it's true. The title company, the tax fees. We don't have a house yet, so there's no way they're going to know that information. So the true numbers you can only control is what the lender is charging you. So essentially the cost of the loan. And do you like the person? Are they available? You want to know a good test to find out if the lender's solid? Call them on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon and just say, hey, can you run this numbers for this house for me? If they take until Monday or Tuesday to call you back, big banks, then that's not good. So yeah, when you're shopping around, notice the interest rate. But when they send you the estimated cost sheet, maybe in a spreadsheet or something, write down what the charges they're charging you, and then maybe make a scale for you. Do I like this person? Do I feel like they have my best interests at heart? And are they going to be able to answer and be available for me? Those are the things you look out for. And don't be a stickler for the rate, because that could change. Step number 5 is also in line with getting pre-approved. Ask for several pre-qualifications when you're getting qualified, depending on your area. So you might be looking in 2 or 3 different areas, and each area might have individual taxes that are separately. One area might have HOA, etc. So when you have your pre-approval finalized, you're talking with your lender, you want to ask them, hey, so I'm looking in this city. So let's use cities in Phoenix. I'm looking in North Phoenix. Here's a house in North Phoenix. I want you to pull the pre-qualification, what I qualify for in that area. And here's an area, Chandler. I want you to essentially give me pre-qualification for there. What you're going to notice is different is you might pre-qualify for more of a house in one area and have the same monthly payment than a pre-qualification that'll be lower in another city that might have higher taxes than HOA. This is because in your monthly payment, there's 5 factors. There's your principal, interest, taxes, mortgage insurance, and hazard insurance. Big factor that changes here is your taxes. Your annual taxes are part of your payment. And of course, there's a silent secret sixth killer that no one talks about, the HOA. You might find that your house might have HOA. So if one house has an annual taxes of $1,000 and one house has an annual taxes of $3,000, that is almost a $170 difference in monthly payment. So if your pre-qualification is based off the monthly payment you qualify for, and so it's $170, so let's say every $100 is about $10,000, you might qualify for nearly $20,000 more and have the same exact payment than the more expensive city, just if you're looking in a house there. You might be more inclined and more motivated to find a house in a different area that you thought you were. So ask for pre-qualifications and breakdowns for each city that you're going to be looking for. And if you have houses picked out already, even better, they're going to be able to give you more accurate numbers. Number 6 is do market research before you start looking for a house. Now, it's going to be hard for you to do this on your own. So by now you probably have a real estate agent. So I hope you do. And this is the questions you want to ask your realtor, okay? You want to basically, they are the ones that have the data. They're the ones that can access it for you. So that's fine. It is what it is. I'm sure the big companies are working on changing that, but this is what you're going to want to ask them for, okay? So, you like that? You like that transition? Pretty cool, right? First of all, you're probably going to have an idea of what you want already. So I'm just going to kind of just Chandler Gilbert here. Okay. So let's say you already have your search built up. This is what you want to ask your real estate agent to send you to do market research, okay? So say, real estate agent, buddy, oh pal, can you please send me the data on how many houses are for sale, 25, versus how many are currently pending and under contract, so 128. So you get a good idea of what your month to sell ratio is. So right now, there are 128 houses that are under contract, okay? 128, and there's only 25 available. So that's an incredibly high rate of sale going on there. So that's already going to give you a heads up. Question number 2, Mr. Realtor or Mrs. Realtor, can you send me the last 30 days of closings in my search? First of all, you're going to get a number, 171. Insane. That means that there's 171 that sold over the last 30 days. And it's only 25 for sale. So if it continues to be the same rate of sale, it'll take about a week for all the houses to sell. That's really competitive. But once again, Chandler and Gilbert are crazy. If you're not aware, Phoenix, your city might be hopefully better. So anyways, Realtor, please send me the last 30 days of closings. Now, what you want to do with these 30 days of closings is you should be able to analyze. And if you want to create data and sheets here, this is, you can go crazy. Let me know what you build with this. I'd love to see that. So, you want to look at what the houses are selling for. So, look at your top ones that have sold, listed at 407, sold for 460. Holy crap. Sold for a conventional loan. Listed at 433, sold for 459. Holy crap. So what you do is if you want to spend 440, you look at the sold houses in 440 territory and you start seeing what they were listed at. This one's listed at 399 and sold for 400,000. This one listed at 415 and is sold for 400,000. This one listed at 435, sold for 440 cash. Cash buyers. So you start collecting data and you start, hopefully you track this all in some kind of sheet so you can start getting an idea of what your percentage of success rate is essentially, okay? Question number 3 to ask your realtor. Realtor, out of the 30 days you just sent me of closings, can you give me a ratio breakdown of how many sold cash versus conventional versus FHA? If they don't know how to do this, go to homeandmoney.com/Javier and get yourself a real estate agent referral. I know, okay, I'm a sellout, but we have a really good product there. So if you want an agent referral, go for it. So what you do is they just do it by just look up the sold. It's not hard. It's just you go to sold, right? You go to loan type, and we can figure out what the cash sales are. So it's 171 sales that happen, and then we focus on the cash ones. Well, there's 72. So tell your lender 72 divided by 1, was it 171? 42% have sold cash. Holy shit. How many have sold conventional? They click conventional. 87 of them sold conventional, right? So you start getting ratios of everything. And all you really want to know is what's cash, conventional, and what's my government products, FHA and VA. So then once you have that data, which your realtor should be able to access for you, you'll get a good indication of, holy crap, what am I up against here? Don't really focus on the ones that are selling for well above. Just focus on the price that you want to be and focus on what they're being listed there for. You might find that if you're looking to spend $440 in a certain city, you might have to be looking at $420. Now, I'm showing you an extremely competitive city. I don't want you to get discouraged. Your city might be a lot more doable. But this is not information that you will know until you'll save a lot of essential time by understanding your market better, making the right offer sooner, and you're just going to be more of a peachy peach. Tip number 7, my last one. Track your mistakes. Track your mistakes. What does this mean? Every offer you make, put it down somewhere. And you probably going to be surprised. You have a worksheet or something built or whatever. Maybe your realtor can track them for you. Track your mistakes. What was the purchase price you made? Here, let's make something quick together. Okay. So what was the purchase price that you made? What was the list price of the house, right? What was the purchase price? What's the percentage of difference there? And what's the offer that beat you? And this is super simple, right? So list price. So let's say the house was listed for $400,000. You offered $420. We can do a quick formula here to see how much more you offered. So then you can figure out, so this is the formula I use, just this by this. So you basically made an offer 105% of the purchase price. That's not right, is it? I guess that is right, because 10% is 40K. And let's say an offer that was, I don't know, 440 beat you, okay? If you want to track other things like the city and the area and what kind of offer, all that stuff, you can do that. But so let's say, you do this multiple times and you keep tracking it. You're going to figure out that there's going to be a pattern here soon. You're going to figure out, hey, looks like this specific area is offering this much more. Maybe I need to do this, or maybe I need to change different areas. And now you can get really analytical here. So if you guys create something awesome, I know a lot of engineers watch me, so I want to see what you send. Send me something good, okay? So you want to really, get analytical and track everything, because if you just keep making the same mistakes over and over again, geez, you're not going to really get far along. And even if you're not that oriented, getting an idea of what you're doing wrong every time is going to help. Or you're going to become a better chess player by analyzing your game after the game and figuring out what your mistakes were and improving on exercises in that mistake, rather than just simply keeping trying over and over again and eventually something will fall, right? No, learn, get better, improve, adapt, improvise. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure to go and call your mom and dad this Christmas time. Just go call them. And even if it's not Christmas anymore, just call them. Tell them that I love them and that you love them.